Hi, geography students. Today we are going to continue our discussion on culture, and specifically we're going to talk about a very important part of culture, and that is religion, which is something that is a driving force in cultures and has been for thousands of years. So let's take a look not only of the different kinds of religion, but let's take a look at what religion is first of all and where it's located. So here are, as you can see, the different religions of the world and where they are located. And I want you to take a minute and see if you can pick out any patterns. First of all, use the legend to help you tell what religions are represented by what color on the map, and also where those religions are located and where they share common religions and where they have different religions and where those boundaries are at. All right, so one of the patterns I want you to notice is both Christianity and Islam, which are our largest religions and most widespread, and see where those are located. These three types, Roman Catholic, Protestant, and Eastern Orthodox, are your main three that are located throughout the world for Christianity. And then in Islam, there are multiple kinds as well, but the main two branches are Sunni and Shia Muslims. And you can see those are predominantly located in the Middle East and North Africa here, shaded in green and the dark red. And there are some other places as well. Notice here in Indonesia and parts of Papua New Guinea, they are predominantly Muslim as well. And you can see where Christianity is. Its origins, obviously, in the Middle East here, but really took hold in Western Europe, especially.
Hey, Mr. Kelly.
Hey, how's it going? All right, and you see where Catholic Christianity is mostly located here in Western Europe, and also in North and South America, especially. Here in Central America, the Caribbean, and South America, it's predominantly located as well. And I want you to be thinking about where that spread may have come from as well. As for Protestantism, it started in Germany, is where it originated, and we can see how that's transformed different regions around the world, especially in North America and Northern Europe, but we also see it in places such as South Africa, Australia, New Zealand, and other places around the world. The other three main religions I want you to focus on and notice where they are at is Hinduism, which is predominantly here in India and South Asia, as well as I want you to focus on Buddhism, which is mostly in Eastern Asia, here in orange as well. And finally, Judaism, right, or the Jewish population here, where it's predominantly located in Israel, although there are large populations in Europe and North America as well. So let's get into what religion is. First of all, religion is, as it says here, a set of beliefs, and it's basically trying to explain things that are that cannot be known for sure, right? So such things as the origin of the universe, where mankind came from, what our purpose as human beings are on Earth. Are there higher beings, spirits, gods, things of that nature? And they usually involve these things you see here, such as rituals. All right, that could be in Christianity, such as taking communion or being baptized. In Judaism, you have the bat mitzvah, the rite of passage for men in that culture boys in that culture becoming men. In Islam, you have the pilgrimage to Mecca. These are all types of rituals that are performed for one of the common traditions in that particular religion, and it has some type of meaning attached to it as well. It's more than just the actual act. It's a symbol of what those acts mean to that particular religion, and they vary, of course, from religion to religion. But these are heavily involved in traditions and holidays and ways of life, and it's intertwined in societies where this religion is held. For example, here in the United States, you can see the traditions of Christianity intertwined in our day-to-day lives. Here Right now, we are getting ready soon for the Christmas tradition, which is, of course, a Christian holiday, and you can see how that is playing out in our society as well. So obviously, we can see how big religions can affect our day-to-day lives, and this is true not just in the U.S., of course, but around the world. In other Christian societies, but also in non-Christian societies, where you have other holidays and traditions coming soon. We know Judaism, they have Hanukkah, and other religions. They're celebrating around this time of year as well, and we'll take a greater look at that later on. But it's heavily tradition-based. It's passed down, from generation to generation, and they're taught the same traditions in each of their family units and tribes and things of that nature. All right, other things that religions have. All religions have a value system, things that they hold as being important. These are oftentimes written into their holy scripture or books. They're written into their specific church doctrines, and they're also informally practiced by all the members in that particular religion. You have different things, behaviors that are deemed more worthy, and usually they are attempts to make people, fall in line with things in society that are deemed good, right? So it's good things like taking care of your neighbor, right? Helping the poor, or feeding the hungry, or being kind to one another. These are types of values that many of religions have and place an emphasis on. Now, many religions also have place a value on things that are what they deem sacred or connected with God. This could be a physical item such as a cross. It could be a menorah in Judaism. It could be a holy text such as the Quran in Islam. Things that are deemed connected with God are what we call sacred. And these things are held in higher regard or divine. And some things are considered actually from God, or a way in which God has connected to the spiritual world, or multiple gods in some religions. Could be spirits, but it's something that's connected with the spiritual world and something tangible we can see or touch. And so in some societies, these are very important things. In others, they're less so. You can see a more religious society based on their laws or value systems, or more religious or less religious, depending on what religion is dominant in that area and how strict they are of followers. And it affects not only people's lives day to day, but also their social roles, what jobs they have. Holidays, of course, we talked about. It could be a political issue. We see it all the time in the U.S. Religion as being a political issue, and it's even more so in many other countries. All right, a couple of isms that you need to know. Number one, fundamentalism. This is where you have a very strict adherence to your religion and its beliefs. These are the people you think of that never miss a particular religious event. They always follow all the rules of that society. Maybe in Muslim culture, that they don't eat pork or don't drink alcohol, or are always follow the teachings of the Quran. These are very strict fundamentalist, by the book type of followers. And that's as opposed to a more secular view, where you have a lifestyle that's less adhered to whatever religion that you are. Basically, you don't necessarily follow all the rules, or maybe you only go to church a few times. It doesn't make you less necessarily. It's just how of that particular religion. It just is saying that you don't follow it to the strictest of the law of whatever religion that you're talking about. And sometimes this is to the degree where you are non-religious, and we're going to talk about that's one of the fastest growing belief systems out there, is that you are not concerned with religious aspects and you live a more secular lifestyle. These are things that are not considered sacred or part of that particular religion. Also, a couple other types of isms that you may have heard of before. It's poly and monotheism, and that's just the belief system of different religions and how many gods there are. Polytheism, poly meaning many, that there are multiple gods in that particular religion, and they usually have some type of specific job or purpose. Those individual gods do. For example, in Hinduism, you have different gods, and they all have a specific purpose, such as they're the particular god of forgiveness or love, or so on and so forth. Whereas in monotheism, there is one God in that particular religion. These are religions such as Islam or Christianity, Judaism. These are monotheistic religions where there's one all-powerful God, and they usually handle all aspects of godliness. All right, and finally, the last ism we're going to talk about is syncretism, and syncretism is just when you start seeing the combination of multiple religions into one personal belief system that is typically held. And the number one way in which you see syncretism around the world is through Buddhism, because Buddhism does not necessarily particularly push forward any one particular god. Many people live a Buddhist lifestyle because it's basically a way of life, a way to live according to Buddhism. And you can have really any other type of god or gods as your personal belief. And Buddhism does not discriminate in that sense. And so many people have combined Buddhism and Islam, Buddhism and Christianity, Buddhism and many other different types of religions to form a syncretic religion where it's blended their different beliefs. All right, real quick. Here are the numbers that we see around the world of Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, Buddhism, and Judaism are the main ones we're going to focus on. So make sure you pay attention to the order there and how many adherents you see. Christianity being the number one religion in the world. However, Islam is still the fastest growing. And so soon they say Islam is going to have pretty comparable numbers probably in the next century. By 2100 or so, they're going to be about even with Christianity in terms of total followers around the world. Hinduism, we're going to take a look more in depth at in a later section as to why they have so many, but also not very widespread. Buddhism has traveled all around Asia and other parts of the world as well, but it's still predominantly focused there. Judaism, again, a religion that is not very widespread, so you don't see as many followers. But we're going to take a look at Judaism, especially because it also is closely tied to both Christianity and Islam, and we'll take a look at a later section. All right. I want you to pause for a minute and take a look. You have this handout, and also I want you to pay attention to some of the commonalities between these different 5 religions that we're going to study. So notice they all have holy text that they read from and that they gain some sort of value system from. They also have common founders, major belief systems, leaders, and of course they have followers in each of these religions as well. But also pay attention to where these places are located. You should know, generally speaking, where what areas of the world are predominantly Jewish, Christian, Islamic, Hindu, or Buddhist. Okay, so make sure you know a few of these things, like what they follow. And we're going to talk more about that as well, but make sure that you follow those basic traditions and know some of these basic things. All right, lastly, again, here is where they are located around the world. Just take a minute and put together, add to your mental map and know where these different religions are located, and see if you can pick out any patterns.